Welcome to another table read here with me, Blake, the reader, the actor, the narrator, everything. The one you're about to listen to is called The Minotaur, which is part of a detective, noir saga I wanted to make, which is a bunch of different detectives dealing with a bunch of different, random serial killers. Funny enough, this whole short was inspired by a music video by an artist called Sir Sly, I want to say. It's called Gold. I remember watching that music video, and then I was watching Dexter around the time, and I think that's how I came up with this idea. So, hope you enjoy. The scene begins showing Detective McCoy, who I was going to play. I'm going to be playing Detective McCoy. The scene begins showing Detective McCoy looking down and opening up a matchbook, which has an address written inside. In front of him is a rundown abandoned house. He closes the matchbook and places it into his pocket, revealing that he's armed and badged. Now Detective McCoy starts to enter the building. He looks around, seeing that it's dark. He pulls out his flashlight and flicks it on. He immediately notices the blood stain on the ground and a trail of blood leading away. He unholsters his pistol and follows. Detective McCoy pushes open a door and enters slowly. He turns slightly and hunches down. He's examining another dead detective. He looks closely over the body, the blood, the gun, which was left. Noticeably, Detective McCoy's face is revealed in the mirror, which seems to have fallen from the wall. He glances into the mirror, seeing someone standing nearby. He turns quickly and sees no one. He follows the person he saw. He enters another room where it seems to have been a struggle. There's more broken glass and another dead body. McCoy investigates to see that it's another cop. He looks over the body and notices that he too still has his sidearm. McCoy examines the throat and sees that it's been cut. Something falls and hits the ground. McCoy turns and heads in the direction he thinks he heard the sound from. He passes a doorway and starts to enter another room as the killer slowly leans out of the doorway he passed, revealing kind of his face, it's kind of a little tease that there's a guy there. McCoy goes into a room which seems to have been a bedroom of some sort. He goes over and picks up a journal that's laying on the mattress. It seems to be scribbled and rambled in from a mind of a madman. Repeatedly written is the word, the Minotaur. McCoy starts to read the journal. The Minotaur starts to sneak up behind him. McCoy glances slightly to his right, turns and raises his gun. He sees no one. McCoy shoves the journal into his vest and starts to slowly exit the room. He re-enters the hall and pushes open another door. He steps back as a crawling man lashes out at him. McCoy kneels down to hold him as the man dies before he can say anything. His throat has also been cut, his face is covered in blood, and so is his body. Suddenly, McCoy turns and aims his gun at the Minotaur, who snuck up behind him. The Minotaur shoves his gun aside and slashes his hand, causing McCoy to drop the gun, and slashes McCoy, who takes a slash on the cheek. McCoy stands and shoves the Minotaur back and goes to punch him. The Minotaur ducks and dives into another room as McCoy goes for his pistol. McCoy aims down the hallway just to see the Minotaur leave out the front door. McCoy then runs out of the house and looks around for the Minotaur, only to see nothing. He sighs. As the camera goes behind him, the Minotaur is now staying behind him. Detective McCoy realizes it's too late, turns as the Minotaur strikes. Black screen. Detective McCoy now opens his eyes. He's been stripped of his weapon, his shoes, and has blood dripping down the side of his face. His flashlight is also gone. The Minotaur. Detective McCoy. Detective McCoy turns slightly to see the Minotaur. The Minotaur. So you're the one who's been hunting me. McCoy turns and faces the Minotaur, but doesn't say anything. Just stares at him. Then he spits on the floor. The Minotaur scoffs, then stands up and walks over to Detective McCoy. And as the Minotaur steps into frame, taking up the shot, it fades to black. The sound of fists hitting McCoy is heard. The Minotaur clenches his fists as the blood drips from them, and he starts to leave the room. Detective McCoy shifts slightly and sits up. He looks around, hurt. He starts to look at his bindings. He's only handcuffed. Not to anything. He looks around, slightly confused. He then slowly gets up and walks to the door. His handcuffs are in front of him, his hands are cuffed in front of him. He slowly opens it and peeks out, and there's no one there. He steps out into the hall. Cuts down to the Minotaur, who's now stripping down to being completely naked. Detective McCoy, who's walking slowly and limps slightly, as the Minotaur's voice comes out of nowhere on a speaker. The Minotaur: "You're in my maze now, detective!" McCoy slumps against the wall and stays there for a bit, hiding. Back to the Minotaur talking. "I know every inch and crook of this place, but I am a sportsman." McCoy walks around another corner and sees a small box. He looks around and sees no one, slowly walks over, slouches down to it, and opens it slowly. Inside is a key to his handcuffs, which he unlocks himself. Then he looks inside the box and slowly pulls out a hammer. The Minotaur: "Now we have a game, McCoy." McCoy walks down the hallway, as it shows the Minotaur is very close by. The Minotaur: "You're not a talker, are you? There's no fun in hunting quiet prey." McCoy turns quickly and sees nothing. McCoy walks a little more, and he shows he's about to trip a wire. The camera cuts to show a booby trap. The Minotaur is walking and sneaking as he hears a shotgun blast goes off. The Minotaur sighs and runs out of hiding. The Minotaur: "God damn it, McCoy! You were supposed to make this fun! How am I supposed to have fun if you get killed by—" The Minotaur suddenly cuts himself off, and he comes to where McCoy should be laying dead, but there's nothing, not even blood. The Minotaur: "Clever." Suddenly, the Minotaur gasps when he falls down and shows Detective McCoy standing behind him holding a bloody hammer. The Minotaur starts to crawl slightly, and McCoy goes over to beat him to death with the hammer. McCoy sighs and drops the hammer and walks away. Cuts now to Detective McCoy exiting the maze house and sits outside, pulls out a lighter and a cigarette. Just as he goes to light it, another car is heard pulling up, and someone's running over. This person's Frankie. Frankie: "Holy shit, McCoy, are you okay?" McCoy turns around and grabs the Minotaur's journal and tosses it to Frankie. McCoy says, "Get that to the chief. Inside you'll find the confessions and locations of the Minotaur victims, all listed and categorized. Some of it's written in German, shouldn't be hard to translate though. Also, inside you'll find the bodies of Detective Miles, Officer Benson, and the reporter John Malcolm, dead, as well as," McCoy pulls out his notepad, "the body of Mr. Charles Krieger, the alleged and now proven true identity of the killer known as the Minotaur." Frankie nods and turns to leave with his journal. McCoy: "Oh, and Frankie." Frankie turns around. "Yeah?" McCoy: "Next time I tell you to meet me somewhere, on time, you better meet me there, on time." Frankie nods and hurries to his car, and McCoy lights a cigarette. The end. So yeah, this was going to be part of like a whole kind of like saga thing. There's going to be Frankie was going to be a recurring character, and he's basically kind of like a toady. He's kind of like, not a toady, kind of like the eyes and ears of the street. So a lot of detectives were using him, and he was going to be using the characters that like, he was going to be the character that like interwove between all these different stories of detectives. But yeah, so this was the Minotaur, and I really wanted to make it at some point. Maybe I will, now that I know about some abandoned buildings and stuff. So yeah, maybe I'll hunt it down, and maybe I'll eventually make it. But we'll see. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more.